Noise, noise, noise. It is one sleep till draft day. Landry Locker, Cody Stoots with you. It is S&L. We start this out with some pretty relevant noise. I would say there's a lot of irrelevant noise, depending on who you ask, but this is pretty relevant noise, at least around here, at least with our audience.
Hold on. Did you say one sleep till draft day?
I said one sleep till draft day.
All right, stay with me here. I think you said it's
okay.
Sleep till draft day.
Okay. A little beastie action. I see you. And then they just start screaming and yelling. Yeah, one sleep till draft day. Dun, dun, dun. Yes, it is. Let's talk about the noise, though. So Diana Russini starts the morning off with a report, and she says that Nick Caserio has actively been trying to move up in the draft. Before we get into the details and everything, let's just say this. The way that we follow this team, the way that we cover this team is we often like to play follow the source, because it is what we do and how we spend a large majority of our time and how we spent a large majority of our time for a long time. People come and go as far as like go-tos of where the information is that you can trust and where the information is that you can't trust. And within the last year and a half or so, Diana Russini, I would say, pound for pound,
bang, 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 just story after story after story about the Texans from her.
She's become like the number one newsbreaker with the Texans. And I think it's fair to say that when she says something, there's something to it when it comes to the Texans. Now, some people will say stuff and you don't really hold much stock, but if Diana Russini is saying something like this, I think you can dismiss it as just noise.
To me, it's Russini at the top, and then it's Ian Rappaport behind her as the newsbreakers and what they're having to say. What Diana Russini said is a little bit different than what some of the other folks have been saying. So she said today, the Houston Texans have been actively making calls about a potential move up, so don't be surprised if Houston makes a jump on Thursday night. Now, that's very different from some of the other phrasing and the wording, because the way some of the other stuff got phrased, it made me seem like, to me, teams were whispering that they think the Texans are moving. But when she says the Texans have been actively making calls, she's getting that from either the teams the Texans talk to or the Texans, it feels like.
Yes. And it makes you wonder, like, who would they be moving up for? Naturally, it feels, just based on the dialogue, just based on the feel with one sleep left, it does feel like things are trending towards offensive line. It does.
Yep.
It does kind of feel that way. Now, which offensive lineman would be the question? We've been very high on Kelvin Banks as a possibility. Gray Zabel seems to be getting some momentum heading into the draft. People are saying really good things about him. Tyler Booker, we've spoken of. Didn't know that would be a guy you have to move up, but the reality is the Texans right now sitting at 25, they're in a cluster of teams that could completely F their world up, especially right there at 24 with the Minnesota Vikings. So maybe it's as simple as just getting out of that cluster and making sure you don't even have to deal with it. Maybe it has to do with the fact that they do have a little bit of extra stuff to work with, given the Laramie Tunsil trade. But when Diana says something, I think you got to put some stock into it, and you got to take it for what it's worth these days.
Yeah, and look, I would tell you that doing this before the draft would be a foolish exercise by the Texans. So if they make a trade in the next 24 hours, that'd be dumb. You shouldn't do that. But if they're calling teams to say, hey, I don't know, Monty Ossenfort, you run the Cardinals. Nick Caserio's your buddy. You guys did a deal with the big trade up a couple of years ago, moving up for Will Anderson. Hey, Monty, if the board falls like this, what's it take to get your pick? You go back to 25, I come up to 16. So you know what the cost is there. You call Atlanta. Okay, you know what the cost is there. Maybe you even call San Francisco. Hey, what's the cost here? You really love a guy. You feel like you can't live without Kelvin Banks. Hey, what's the cost to get up to 11, John Lynch? We know you need a lot of stuff. A couple extra draft picks wouldn't hurt you guys. What's the cost? So I think you're doing your checking. You're not trying to make a trade until you see the board starts to shake out, because if 3 tackles go in the top 10, well, you're not making a trade up for a tackle.
Like, I also wonder, like, how long you wait. I mean, I would think you would let 12 picks go, 13, and then figure something out. Maybe just like you said, just kind of have the line of communication open and have them aware that that's what you're going to do. So we'll see what they decide to do.
Here's the tough part about trading up for a tackle. It's very expensive to get to Chicago at 10. Same with San Francisco at 11. Dallas can't get what they want if they move out of 12. So now you're looking at 13. Okay, you look at Miami. What do they need? Tackle. I mean, Patrick Paul, they drafted him in the second round last year, but they could use another tackle. They just had their tackle retire. What does Indy need? Tackle/guard. What could Arizona use? Tackle. What does Cincinnati use? Tackle/guard. Like, you got all these picks right here in a row. Now, the guy you really want, we think it's Kelvin Banks. Banks gets past Indianapolis, call Atlanta. Get them on the phone. They got the second least draft value of any team in the draft behind Minnesota, or in front of Minnesota. Get on the horn, see what it takes to get to 15. You like the price? Make the payment. Go get Kelvin Banks.
When you hear this, there's usually a number of reasons why you want to trade up, and I think we've covered a couple of them, and maybe there's multiple reasons, but they can be connected to one of the two. You either really like someone specific and you anticipate that there might be a time to go get that guy. That's number one. It could be multiple guys that you like. And number two, I think the cluster is a real thing, which we've been talking about for, I think, a couple months now. The cluster that you're in from 20 to 24, it's just hellacious. It's a nightmare of where you're at. So it could be as simple as you just want to get out of that cluster, or they really, really could like someone that we've been talking about. So I think that there's a number of things that could factor into that if they are doing it. I don't think that they're not doing it for no reason. Now, maybe there's just such a desperation on the offensive line that they're almost essentially drafting for need, to where they really just want to get an offensive one. Maybe they like 3 or 4 offensive linemen, and they have to get one of those guys, or else they're going to consider this a failure when it comes to rebuilding the line. So there's that possibility.
How is one guy fixing this offensive line situation?
Well, I've never liked that mindset in the draft. It's like when someone says you don't draft a quarterback because you're not a quarterback away. If you think the guy's a really good player, you take him and you figure it out. But there's one of the bigger arguments I got into with McLean. It's like, well, they don't draft a quarterback because they're not a quarterback away. Well, I mean, what the hell does that even mean? Like, would you rather? So what do you do? Just hope that the scene's perfect and you have the opportunity? Like, I don't think one offensive lineman is fixing the draft. I get it, and I'm sure you're basically saying you probably need multiple picks and stuff. But if you can get a really, really good offensive lineman, like, regardless of what the state of the offensive line is, if that's what they want to do, cool. I'm bored by it. Like, I'm not excited. Like, if you're telling me they're drafting Simmons or Gray Zabel, cool, whatever. Hopefully it works out. But if that's what they want to do, then there's proof that they may have to trade up. So
I just feel like you could throw multiple picks at the offensive line and get to the same place by going a different route than using basically your Laramie Tunsil haul to go get one guy. Like, I just don't. That, to me, doesn't feel like the best route for the Texans to take.
Now,
it feels like sticking and picking is better. It feels like moving back is better. And it feels like giving Caserio all that ammunition next year. 4 picks in the top 100 again. 3 of them in the top 64 next year. You don't want to take that away. Like, you need lots of cost-controlled labor on this team, and you need it at the offensive line.
My question is that do they have a certain guy is really where the question is, because it just seems like you never know what Russini may or may not be hearing or saying or anything like that. So
what's your gut tell you the guy is? It's Banks, right?
I don't know. I really don't know. I wish I did. I don't know. I don't know who they like.
Who would you trade up for?
Who would I trade up for? I would trade up for Banks. I don't think Banks is going past 15. I think we're going to be very, 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 very enlightened tomorrow.
Is there a chance? So here's my other question. Is there a chance they think a different guy's falling that they like?
They may like Zabel. They may like,
you trade up 10 picks for Gray Zabel. You've screwed everything up. That's horrible.
Well,
I like the guy, but that's horrible.
They're talking about he might be able to play 4 positions.
No, well, I can't play him at once. I like Gray Zabel, but damn, he shouldn't be the 15th pick in the draft. This to me, my gut tells me this is it's if Kelvin Banks starts to slip, let's be ready to go get him. And then the backup to that would be, I guess, Armand Mimbu, the Missouri tackle. If he starts to slip, let's go get him.
Okay. All right. Let's get a break from the lineman for a second. Go to the super chat. You ain't never hate. Swarm. What if they want one of the tight ends? There's 2 of them in the first round that it would even be worth considering. And it is Tyler Warren and it is Colston Loveland. I don't know. I did find it kind of interesting. And this is just connections. It doesn't really matter. Because it wasn't his ship. Someone yesterday on the night stream brought up Kaylee's good with slot guys. It's like, no, he's been around it, but he's not good with it. Like, he doesn't get credit for what Puka and Cup did or what Amendola and Edelman did, but he did observe it. Like, that's the point I'm making. He observed it. He didn't have a damn thing to do with it. Like, really, in the big scheme of things, he was there. But I did find it interesting that, and this was Russini too, that I guess the Rams really wanted Brock Bowers last year.
The Rams?
And yeah, so the Rams really wanted Brock Bowers. This is a Russini report. And they missed out on him. And, well, I mean, they probably thought he was going to go a little bit further, but that was their pursuit. And they may want a tight end now. Now, I would say that would probably mean that they went Colston Loveland, I would assume. But it is interesting that, much like we talk about multiple slots and Nick Caley kind of observing it in multiple areas, he was at a place where they highly valued tight ends, and he already has said he likes tight ends. So I don't know, how far up are you having to go to get Colston Loveland? Like, that could go a number of ways. We don't know what direction that's going to go. So,
I mean, I'd tell you probably 13. I don't believe. I believe Indy are taking one of 2 positions. They're going to take an offensive lineman or they're going to take a tight end. That's my feel for them, just based on where the players should be available. To answer the question for the super chat, they trade up, get Tyler Warren. We're throwing a party. We'll throw a Tyler Warren party after the draft party. Like, I'll be having a freaking celebration. I'll be drunk by 1 p.m. Saturday if they draft Tyler Warren.
Well,
you better come talk to me in the first 2 hours of the draft party at Karbach Brewing.
No, you're a fun drunk guy to talk to. You're a fun drunk guy to talk to. So,
well, what I'm saying is I ain't going to remember it after 1 p.m.
Wait till after 2. So, yeah, the Tyler Warren, I mean, that would be exciting, but I don't know. That's going to have to be a little bit of a fall. We don't know when that's going to happen. Also on the, and that's the beauty of it. Also on the soup. You ain't never hate. Swarm. Stone alone 5 times. He is pumped. He's doing his thing. I think he's in the truck and he's jacked up, wired up for that one sleep till draft day. So shout out to you, my friend. Hope to see you at Karbach, 11 a.m. Saturday for the party. T-shirts should be here tomorrow. So yes, we got you covered for that. The other thing that I put the graphic up there for the people so they can get a little visual of the party. There you go. Look at that. Karbach Brewing Company, 11 a.m. Cuss, discuss, do all that type of stuff. So here's the other question I have about this Russini stuff. We appreciate everyone for coming through one sleep away from draft day. Landry Locker, Cody Stoots here with you. Like, who would they trade up for if it's not an offensive lineman? It's got to be a receiver, right? I mean, it would have to be a receiver, and it would have to be, I'll put it this way, and you got to hear me out on this. Like, and this is the opposite of the offensive line thing. I want to like present this the right way to where it doesn't sound as outlandish as it can sound on the surface. So if they, and this is kind of the same thing I said about McMillan. And by the way, I think you can cross McMillan off the list. Like, I don't think
that ain't happening.
He might be going in the 20s. If they pick McMillan, it would be the most surprising thing for me. Like that would be the most surprising thing. I don't think he likes football, and I think they want guys who like football. Even CJ Gardner-Johnson yesterday talked about loving football. And I mean, D'Amico basically said that you could have an off-field incident or maturity issues and he could look past it, but he wants guys who like football. That's basically how I took it. But so I think Walter Nolan, I think we can all agree, is one of the most talented guys in the draft, right? Like, I think his ceiling is high. We don't know if he reaches that ceiling or not, but like from a talent perspective, he's one of the most talented guys in the draft. If the Texans don't trade and Walter Nolan's there at 25 and they pass on him, then I'll just say, okay, I get it. I understand. And we'll see. They like this guy instead. If they trade up for Walter Nolan, then I'm gonna start wondering like what number he's gonna wear in the Pro Bowl. Because if they like, unlike the offensive line where you automatically might have trust issues based on what they do, if they actively either pass or aggressively go get a defensive lineman, then get ready to have one of the better D lines in the league and get ready to have one of the better D linemen. That's just where I am when it comes to trust and results based on that area of expertise, because nothing has changed in that. The offensive line, if you're optimistic, if you want to be optimistic, you can say, well, there's a new coach, there's a new scheme, and it's their type of ship. But based on
is greater than the sum of the parts.
You can say that, but I consider that kind of a blind faith thing. But if they trade up for Walter Nolan, then I look at that a lot different than if they pass on him. Now, if they draft him at 25, then I think it's somewhere in between that. But if they actively go get this guy, then that's scary.
Well, so here's the buckets I'd put it in. If they go get the guy and go trade up for him, Walter Nolan, the defensive tackle from Ole Miss, that is earned faith and blind faith, as CJ Stroud talked about this week. If they stick and pick him at 25, it's cool. Total blind faith in them that they know what they're doing with that guy, because he dropped for a reason, but they believe in him. So total blind faith in them.
Yes.
But if they go get him, earned and blind. They stick and pick him, blind faith.
Yeah.
But that is I mean, that's one of the guys I just can't see going up and getting Matthew Golden. Like it's to me, it's centered around one of these offensive linemen or Walter Nolan, if they're really moving up.
I just don't really understand the Matthew Golden thing. And I'm almost hoping, someone like just takes him and gets rid of this possibility. I don't see it. Like, I just do not see it like a lot of people do. I'm not there on that. On the super chat, you ain't never hate. Swarm. Texas Speed 3 says, I hope we draft a good tight end this year. I mean,
God's ears.
Birdie Boy says Daniel Jeremiah said he was told Ibuka was one of the top 5 combine interviews in the last 30 years. That's no surprise. I mean, we've talked about how Ibuka and Booker are exactly the intangibles and the overall football character sound that D'Amico and Caserio seem to value. So there's no doubt about that. That's I'm sure.
I got a hunch. I got a hunch if he's hanging around at 20, that might be Sean Payton. Just grab him, fill out the wide receiver room, get a guy you can trust, smart guy. Find some other dudes later.
We got a hot take from Tay Rose. He says, we'll regret not getting Simmons regardless of the injury. He'll sit out this year. He'll sit this year, but who cares? Still great value for a day 2 pick.
I mean, I'll pull my hair out if they draft Josh Simmons in the first round.
Yeah, and I saw someone said to you in our video about Simmons that y'all will delete this if it wrong. Come on. Like that's not going to stop anyone here from like having an opinion. We're not going to cherry pick. We're not going to piggyback. I'm a Bryce Young or bust guy, and I'm very proud of it, and I'm fine with it. So it's not the end of the world.
It's not just like, I think people need to understand this about Josh Simmons. He's got 2 major red flags to his profile. It's not just an injury. It's not just that it didn't really fit for him at Ohio State, and the coaching staff reportedly didn't really like him that much, and they're not sure about his work ethic. It's the injury and that together. You can't spend a first-round pick on that guy when you're the Houston Texans. Like that's just not what you should do. And, he drops, sneaks out of the first round. He's there at 58. Okay, there's a lot less risk associated at 58 than there is at 25. Still don't love it because I don't love the injury.
Yeah, we're not talking about drafting Jeffrey Simmons in the 20s with a torn ACL.
Right.
It's not that. Here, my thing is, I mean, I get like long-term over a short-term injury, but he might sit out this year. Who cares? That's kind of a wild thing to say in the first round for me. Like I'm not sitting here saying like, if you're telling me he's going to be like the best tackle in the league or something like that, I can get it. But like, he might miss the whole season. Who cares? Probably a lot of teams.
He might miss the whole season. And when he comes back, he might not be the type of player he was.
Yeah, that's
like Simmons had an ACL injury. This is a torn patellar tendon.
Yeah, Jeffrey Simmons. Jeffrey
Simmons, when the Titans got him in the slide, he had an ACL injury. Josh Simmons, the tackle from Ohio State, has a torn patellar tendon injury that he's coming back from. There's been one NFL guy like in the past 10 years that's come back from that and been anywhere close to as good as he was, and he wasn't very good to begin with. That's Jack Conklin.
Yeah, that's kind of risky, but I respect the opinions. Christian on the super chat. You ain't never Swarm. One sleep till draft day. He says can't make it to this year's draft party at Karbach. It's all good. Here's me virtually buying y'all 2 a drink. Went to last year's gig on Wifey's B-Day, if y'all remember, but this year watching the draft from a cruise.
Hey,
I do remember you, my friend. You were talking about your pops. Your wife was very, very nice. She was very, very cool, and she was very understanding. And y'all were y'all had been dating for a long time, if I remember correctly. I think y'all had been dating for damn near like over a decade or something like that. And you were sitting on the front left of the bar, and she was right there. And you were talking about your pops too. So yes, I do remember you, Christian. I very much appreciate you. Sorry you can't be there. We're going to try to do more events, and hopefully other people will be at Karbach at 11. But I very much remember, man. I appreciate you for riding with us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the super chat and the kind words.
AJ says trade down, maybe stay Luther Burden. I don't know what to make of Luther Burden. It's not getting as much run as Tet McMillan, like as far as the makeup, but Luther Burden's one of those guys who could go on the back end of the first round and he could end up on like Baltimore or Kansas City and you start looking extra close at him. Or it could be one of those guys who's there at 58. Like, I don't know what the hell to make of Luther Burden. It's 1 year. Like, you can make a case Luther Burden would have been better off tearing his ACL the final game of 2023 and then rehabbing and being a full go right now as opposed to what he put out there and what people saw from him last season. I know that's crazy to say, but you can make that case that his draft stock would be higher had he never stepped on a football field in 2024 because it was that bad.
Yeah, Luther Burden, I hope he's got enough party supplies for 2 days if he's throwing one on the first day. He gonna need one of that. Okay, this is a throwback. You were still in town. There was a defensive end that played at Texas Tech. And he threw a draft party. And the first day of the draft, it wasn't like he knew he was going, but he threw a draft party a big party. The second day, he thought he was going to get drafted.
Second day?
And
the new format or the old format?
This is the old format when it was just 2 days.
Oh, okay. So he threw a Sunday bash?
Yeah. And then he did not get drafted. And I remember him taking like a big garbage bag of party stuff to the dumpster, throwing it away. And I was like, oh, not great, bud. Not great.
Do you know who it was?
I don't remember his name. It was at Texas Tech. I'm trying to remember who it was. The name, does Daniel Howard sound right?
Yeah, I know him. I know his wife. We were in classes together, I think. Kaylee, if they're still married. Yeah, I remember him. He was we hooped together.
Okay.
Yeah, I know Daniel. He had DH on his back biceps.
Yes.
Meathead, like really improved. Hit the weight room. Bad basketball player though. He belonged on the side court a little bit, but yeah, I knew him.
Yeah. So he threw. Yeah, Luther Burden. If you're throwing a party, I hope you got the variety packs.
What the hell was Daniel Howard doing, thinking he was getting drafted?
Great question.
We used to talk about it, and I would just be like, I don't know about that.
Great question.
She was a mass comm. She was a mass comm lady too. Chick too. She was cool. I think they're still married. He might coach now, right, or something like that. He was.
Don't know. Lost. Did not keep up with him.
DH had the earrings, man. DH had the earrings, and we would always be like the only white guys at like the alpha parties and stuff. And he would just be, yeah, I remember him. Big meathead. But I liked him. I thought you were gonna say Brandon Williams, but Brandon Williams got drafted by the Cowboys. So shout out to him. By the way, I found out this the other day about Tech, and this is random. I found out someone who used to always kick it at our apartment, like I think he got arrested for murder.
As one of your friends, not mine.
He was cool, dude. Like he was just there for like a semester, but he was cool, dude. He was cool. Played basketball and then transferred back to California. And I guess there was like some Atlanta type of beef or something like that.
That's one of your friends for sure.
I just got an interesting text. Go to the next topic. I'm gonna try to follow up on this. This has to do with what we've been talking about. Okay. And it might excite some people, and it might expand some possibilities to the discussion that we've been having.
Okay. Well, while you're doing, do you need to like leave the room, or you want me to?
No. I'm texting.
Okay. Well, I did find Todd McShay's mock draft on the Ringer sort of interesting. He also piled in on I have it on good authority the Texans are trying to move up in the first round. He also said Banks or Gray Zabel. Now, Zabel doesn't fit their profile at all. We've talked about that a ton. He also says no Josh Simmons, doesn't fit the makeup that DeMeco Ryans wants in his offensive line overhaul. Likes Connerly, likes Booker. And he ultimately, in his mock draft, gave him Matthew Golden. So he doesn't think Golden's going very high. So he gave him Golden, replacement for injured Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Christian Kirk. 25, like I don't totally hate the Golden selection. I was more interested in the other info that McShay had in here that basically no Simmons. He's one of the rare national guys that just has out and out said the Texans aren't interested in Simmons. But then he also repeated the Banks and Zabel thing. It's just crazy that they keep getting connected to Zabel when they've never drafted a guy like him before under Nick Caserio. That's just so strange to me.
All right, so it's one of my party tricks that I've done with you for a while. And I always tend to I think I'm batting 1,000 with you. I tend to know who the Cowboys are picking before they pick.
Oh,
do I not?
You definitely do. You've done an excellent job of that over the past couple of years.
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons why I do that, just messaged me and said, do you think there's a chance we might trade with you? And I just said, let me think. Don't know. But I don't think that's like a random question. It's not.
Because Caserio knows where the O-linemen are going to start going. He knows it's 13-14. It's 13-14. I will be fascinated to see, like, New England could very much adjust how things operate from an O-line standpoint. Because if they don't take Campbell at 4, then I don't know where he goes. Where he goes affects where Mimbu goes. Obviously, where those two guys go affects where Banks goes. It's like number 4 kind of holds a little bit of a key to opening up where some of this stuff's going to go.
Yeah, and Rich Boy says I got the Cowboys pick wrong last year. No, I didn't. I said who they wanted 4 picks before they drafted, and the guy got drafted. That's not getting it wrong. 5 picks before, I said they're taking him if he's there. He wasn't there. I said they didn't even control it. But no, sir. The party trick's still alive, my friend.
It's a good party trick. Let me pull up the draft value chart and see.
Yeah, so that's 13 spots if you're trading with Dallas. It's
that's expensive, man. Jeez, that's expensive. Okay. Just let me I'm not doing the math. I'm typing it into a calculator. All right, so the current value chart, and I'll just do this out loud. Dallas's pick is valued at 347. Texans first rounders valued at 230. You've got to make up 117 points of value. So, the second rounder is 93. And then you could throw in probably one of the fourths next year. So 25, 58, and a fourth next year to 12. Boy, that feels expensive.
Yeah,
I like Kelvin Banks. That just feels expensive.
Don't know. I mean, I again, just a random ass text. It happened to be while we're on the air, and he's doing his thing right now. So
you're going 12 all the way to 79 before you pick again.
Look, I'm just telling you what the text I got. I don't know. I don't. It's not like something. He just says he's speculating. He said he was just asking. Would it be a good spot? That's it.
Well, he'll listen.
But he says they need picks. So they want picks. So Dallas wants picks.
Oh, they want to have.
They want picks.
They want more volume.
They want picks. They're good at that. Like, look at the best picks they've ever made. They traded back and got Micah Parsons. They sat still. They drafted Travis Ferguson. They sat still. They drafted Zach Martin. CeeDee Lamb fell into their lap. Like, that's kind of what they did.
Travis Frederick?
Frederick. Sorry, I said Ferguson. Travis Frederick. Wrong F word.
Didn't they move back to like 32 for him? Like, didn't it?
Yeah, and everyone was pissed that Sharif Floyd went to the Vikings, and they ended up getting arguably the best center in the league. So yeah, that's kind of their thing.
Yeah, I mean they do a good job with the volume. I'm gonna throw a poll up for the chat just to kind of see what the folks think here. Trade up to 12. That'd be. I mean, again, Miami needs a tackle. The Colts need a tackle. You could argue the Bengals need a tackle / guard. If you're going to 12 for a tackle, it makes sense because 13 and 14 could be tackle spots.
Yeah, because Booker's too early there.
Wait, I like Tyler Booker, but that would be a disaster.
Yeah, so if you're trading up to 12, you're getting Banks or you're taking a receiver.
Or Mimbu.
Yeah, a tackle or a receiver, I should say. So Yeah, there you go. 12. Boom. So there you go. Just a little something extra to think about, which will be fun. The super stream tomorrow will be live. We'll be live before the draft. We'll still do our S&L, and maybe we'll have like a little bit more information, but definitely something to keep an eye on.
I mean, Caserio is Mr. Overpay in the trade ups.
Look, if Banks is a great tackle, it's worth it.
Well, if
you get a great tackle, it's worth it.
You still have 2 selections on day 2.
Genty's going before 12. Someone says they're Genty. Genty's going before 12.
You'd still have the 2 selections on day 2. You'd in theory, again, the idea was 25, 58, and a 4th next year. You'd still have the 2 2s next year when things really are expensive, because that's when some of Stroud's money's starting to hit and some of Willie Anderson's money's starting to hit. It's not like you're using the whole Laramie Hall to get him. You're using some of it.
No, yeah, you're using some of it in the value of look, the value of if let's pretend that the times have changed and it's an awesome ass offensive lineman. Let's just pretend, let's operate in this part of the discussion under the possibility that this guy's just incredible and he's going to be your tackle. He's going to get a second contract. He's going to be here for a decade for CJ Stroud. That value speaks for itself, and you're also paying that guy on a rookie deal for 4 years while you're paying CJ, while you're paying Will, while you're getting to see what happens with these guys. So the value I think is measured more in picks if you're talking about a marquee position like that you'll be able to work around, because you can't you can't. They're not going to be able to make someone the highest paid tackle in the league in the next 2 years. Like, paying big money for a tackle is not going to be realistic. So if you can find someone that can be that guy or a starting caliber guy, in best case scenario, Blake Fisher establishes himself as your right tackle, then maybe you figure it out. But I don't know.
Okay, let's just look at this.
And this is just a hypothetical.
No. It's your point about the money is well taken as well. In addition to, the guy's obviously got to be good, because you're seeing it with Philadelphia. They've got 4 of their 5 guys paid on the offensive line, and they lost out on a few defensive linemen and their starting safety off their Super Bowl team because they've paid their offensive linemen. So the 12th overall pick last year in the NFL draft, Bo Nix.
Yeah.
His 4-year contract is $19 million. To put it in perspective, Cam Robinson makes $13 million this year. And we're not even sure Cam Robinson's that much better than rookie Kelvin Banks would be.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I don't know how good he needs to be. If he's Dwayne Brown, is that good enough?
Yeah, it's more than good enough.
Couple Pro Bowls, and
it's
locks
great.
it down, and
it's awesome.
maybe doesn't
Dwayne Brown good enough? Yes.
Maybe doesn't complain about not being on season tickets.
Yes. So I'm not trying to turn this into like Dallas information, but he says, and I trust him a lot. He says they like McMillan.
Be my guest. Be my freaking guest. That guy, I'm rooting against him.
Yeah, he says they like McMillan. So and I'm sure that's common knowledge up there in Dallas. But
what would you think if the Jaguars took McMillan at 5?
Wouldn't surprise me. It would be funny. If you told me that I could pick for them and it has to be like a realistic option, I would say take McMillan. But the other thing is you're putting him opposite of Brian Thomas Jr. and trying to figure something out. But
that's some fun wars for the next couple of years in the AFC South. Lassiter and Stingley and that secondary versus Brian Thomas Jr. and Teteroa McMillan.
Yeah.
Apparently apparently Jacksonville. So I haven't seen or heard any audio from it, but there was an exchange, I guess, in the pre-draft availability today with some of the guys. Someone asked McMillan if he talked with Jacksonville, and I guess Jacksonville has been very secretive with who they have talked to, and he did not speak to Jacksonville in a 30 visit scenario. And I guess Jacksonville's done a really good job of keeping a lid on who they've talked to and who they're interested in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So maybe that's Baselli, maybe that's the nerd. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, but the McMillan thing is interesting. I saw in the chat, I think it was Jerome probably. Didn't seem like a very clear line of thinking, so probably so. But he talked about how you love McMillan and don't like him now. That's called gathering information as the process goes on. The desire to play I got you. Yeah, you found out that he doesn't like football. You dug up some information and found out that the guy does not like football. Jerome is the kind of guy that probably calls out People Magazine for making O.J. Simpson Man of the Year in 1990. It's a complete you gather more information. As more information comes out, you either like him or you don't. That's
when the guy says I don't like watching film and some of the elements of his game can be corrected by watching a little bit more film. That's not good.
Yeah, you get more information from a week.
You can read between the lines too. People think the guy's a turd.
Yeah, as the meetings have gone on, but yeah, that's you liked him until you kind of gathered some info. So yeah, that happened. It's like Sunny from WWF, who was the hottest woman in the world in the 90s, and now she's like a crack.
I know you want me.
She's like a crackhead now, and she's hit a bunch of I think she's in jail for life now, and she's strung out, and you'd hardly recognize her. Jerome is calling him out, saying, "You said Sonny was hot. You said Sonny was hot. What?" He's like, "Wait, you said Justin Blackman was athletic?"
That's the same dude before, and he didn't watch the film. Yeah, but I didn't know that. What are we doing? It's like when you find out your significant other's crazy.
Jerome is not a smart guy, dude. Let's just be serious. He is not a bright guy.
He's not applying good logic to this conversation.
Yeah, the information comes in and you kind of figure it out. But if the Texans do trade up to 12, then it's tackle or it's wide receiver. We agree on that.
Or they freaking love Walter Nolan.
Yeah. No doubt. Brandon says that people are saying Kelvin Banks will be gone by 4 when people are looking for trades is stirring the pot.
McShay mocked him 6 to the Raiders.
6th. People are asking when the stream is tomorrow. Probably 6:30. 6:30.
Yeah, because here's the thing: the presentation or they're still going to say the draft starts at 7. The Titans don't go on the clock till 7:20 because they do all the pomp and circumstance and stuff. So there's a little bit of a warm up there before the Titans actually get on the clock, and then they'll be slow and they'll take all their time. The NFL wants them to take their time, which is stupid.
They know who it is. You just should announce it right away.
It feels like 1 and 3 are squared away. There's a little bit of concern what Cleveland would do, but Abdul Carter today, he was given an interview. He's, I guess, from the Philly area or spent some time in Philly growing up. They said, "Hey, you're a Philly guy. What if you end up in New York?" And he said, "Well, when I'm in New York, I'll leave Philly behind." It's like, when you're in New York.
Maybe he's trying to talk it into existence. It's kind of scary, though, Abdul Carter and Thibodeau.
Oh, I mean, I think they should trade Thibodeau.
That's kind of scary.
Abdul Carter and Dexter Lawrence is very frightening. Thibodeau's, to me, has been a disappointment in the league to this point.
Yeah, we'll see how old Russ does there, though.
Yeah, they're not going to score many points, but they might stop a few folks.
Yeah, and then the Jags, the Genty thing. That's one of the main things to keep an eye on. And then Indy's going to be nuts. So
well, and if all of a sudden, somebody gets really froggy and is up to 4, and they take Genty, or up to 3 or 2 or 4 and take Genty, then that changes things for what's available to, Jacksonville. What are they going to do? Could they go ahead and move back? The Raiders are a Genty team. So if Genty's not there, what are they doing? The draft could be very boring for the first 4 picks, which would be chalk, 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 chalk. Or it could get really weird at number 4 with New England. Really weird. Chicago, man. Chicago's weird.
Chicago, there's a lot of possibilities. They're in they're in the fun YOLO phase of having a rookie quarterback, even though the rookie season didn't go as well as I'm sure they had hoped. They're in the fun phase where you can get real crazy and you can be extremely aggressive in trying to fill a roster. And you also have kind of it's not a situation, and I think there's enough checks and balances there, but the GM he's got to be aggressive because I think the coach now has more staying power than the GM. So there's not alignment. So if things go wrong, he's gone. And if they don't go extremely right, he could be gone anyways. But Ben Johnson has more staying power than Ryan Poles.
So this is maybe silly. Cleveland's weird because they've got a lot of picks already. So they're not necessarily a great move back spot. But would they do Chicago's first and 2 seconds to let Chicago get Genty number 2 overall?
I don't know. The awkward thing with Genty is it does feel like 5 is when he's going. So if you are trying to hop up, you at least have a decent grasp of where you're going.
Imagine it, Cleveland needs a lot. Imagine if Cleveland had 10, 33, 39, and 41 and 67. That's pretty good. It's way better than having Travis Hunter. I don't know, man. If I was the Bears, I'd let Ben Johnson do whatever the hell he wants. You want Genty? We'll get Genty. That sounds good. What do we need to do to get it? Boom.
They have a lot of picks too. So yeah, and I don't know what Cleveland with Travis Hunter. They need Travis
Hunter or 3 extra picks in the top 40.
Yeah, when does Hunter go if someone trades up to 2? Do the Giants change their mind?
Well, then the Patriots are over the moon because then they get Abdul Carter.
Yeah, so then when does Hunter go? Does he fall to Jacksonville?
Well, if
someone trades up to 2 for Genty, then does Travis Hunter fall to Jacksonville?
No, he goes to New York.
What if they love Abdul Carter?
Well, here's what New York would do. They'd get Hunter, and then they'd trade up from the second round and go get Shador. And then they'd have Dion in New York next year when they fire Brian Daboll.
Because if they get Hunter, I think that's kind of a problem. If you have Hunter and Brian Thomas on offense, that's a serious problem. That's an issue.
Yeah, but I don't think he'd get to 5 because if they didn't take if New York took Abdul Carter, then I feel like the Patriots would just take Travis Hunter. They need wide receiver / corner.
Yeah, the Hunter thing is interesting, and I think Cleveland, from their perspective, they need offense. So there you go. Jags need offense; they need everything, and he doesn't seem willing to just want to play one side of the rock, which is good competitiveness.
Yeah,
but I think he's the best receiver by far.
Yeah, him and
a good corner, but I think he's the best receiver by far.
Him and Brian Thomas Jr. would be way scarier than him and Tetairoa McMillan.
Yeah, I would agree.
Way scarier.
I would agree. I don't think Cleveland's going Sanders. I saw that Marcus Spears is pounding the table for Shador Sanders now.
Well, that's strange.
Yeah, which I don't know if I don't know, does he really like him that much? Or is it kind of hey, I like Dion?
I mean, you can like Dion and still think that his kid shouldn't be the number 2 overall pick.
Yeah. And it's a good point. I must Pandeline asked if Trevor Lawrence is still throwing the ball. He is. He got his shoulder tweaked.
The contract that he's got. I know there was a silly rumor like, oh, Trevor Lawrence. No, they're not trading him. The contract makes him untradeable.
Yeah, where the hell who would trade for him?
Who the hell knows? That's the funny part of creating a rumor on Twitter is you don't have to have an end game. You can just make something up.
Yep. So I would say that the McMillan potential fall is the number one story. When Genty goes is number two, like from a national, and then obviously the quarterback Shedeur Sanders always going to get a lot of attention. So that's what to keep an eye on. Fortunately, we got one sleep till it happens, and we'll figure stuff out.
I'll ask it today because it'll be. I mean, it's a silly-ish question, and it's sillier tomorrow probably. There's no way Indianapolis would take Shedeur, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. Never know with him, though. Their quarterback situation is as extreme as it gets. It would actually probably be appropriate.
I mean, could you imagine that quarterback room? Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson, and Shedeur Sanders?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Be the blind leading the blind.
That's a lot. All right. Appreciate everyone for rolling through. We got one sleep till draft day. Be on the lookout for the stream. We'll start about 6:30 tomorrow. We'll take it through. We'll do the same thing Friday. We'll have content on each of our channels throughout. And the draft party, 11 o'clock, Karbach, Biergarten, pizza and pints, taking in day 3, reacting to the first 2 days.
Reminder on Friday, and we'll give you the heads up now so you go ahead and make plans. The draft starts an hour earlier. So the draft starts at 6 o'clock on Friday. So just make that adjustment.
All righty. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Always remember when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together.
Eat good, sleep good, be good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.